Hi classmate, good evening everyone. Good evening Doc. For our report, Sir Jeffrey Ormoc and I will be discussing e-commerce operation. I'm Melody A. Oksana po pala. I will be discussing the first four parts of this. And this will be the e-commerce, e-business models and concepts, e-environment, macro and micro environment, e-business strategy, and e-supply chain management. First of all, I will be discussing first what is e-commerce. E-commerce can be defined as a buying and selling of goods electronically online. It's popular because many benefits of e-business, internet marketing, electronic funds transfer, mobile commerce. E-commerce business model. A business model is a set of planned activities designed to result in a profit in a marketplace. When you say business model, it actually refers to a company's plan for making a profit. It identifies the product or services the business plans to sell, its identified target market, and any anticipated expenses. Business models are important for both new and established business. An e-commerce business model, it actually aims to use and leverage the unique qualities of the internet, the web, and the mobile platform. An e-commerce business model also is how your e-commerce business is structured conceptually in order to reach your customers and drive sales. Next slide is the 8 key elements of a business model. The 8 components of this are the value proposition, revenue model, market opportunity, competitive environment, competitive advantage, market strategy, organizational development, and management team. For the value proposition, the key question here is how should the customer buy from you? Value proposition, this defines how a company's product or services fulfills the needs of the customers. Like no question ko kanina is what should the customer buy from you? And then what will your firm provide that others do not or cannot? Successful e-commerce value proposition, this includes the personalization, customization, reduction of product search, price discovery costs, and facilitation of transactions by managing product deliveries. For the revenue model, how will you earn money? The revenue model describes how the firm will earn revenue, generate profits, and produce a superior return on your invested capital. Most companies rely on one or some combination for this one. For the following major revenue models, for example, the advertising in Yahoo, revenue source will be the fees from advertiser in exchange for the advertisement, subscription fees from the subscriber in exchange for access to content or services. The transaction fees, for example, for the e-base, these are the fees, the commission for enabling to or executing a transaction. For the sales, it's an Amazon, sales of goods, information or services. The affiliate will be my points of fees for business referrals. Third will be the market opportunity. What market space do you need to serve and what is its size? For the market opportunities, this refers to the company's intended market space and the overall potential financial opportunities available to firm in that market space. Ano ba yung tinatawag na market space? Market space are the actual or the potential commercial value in which the company intends to operate. The fourth one will be the competitive environment. Who else occupies your intended market space? For the competitive environment, this refers to the other companies na nag-ooperate doon sa same market space by selling the similar product. For the other companies selling similar product in the same market space includes both direct and indirect competitions or competitors. For the fifth one will be competitive advantage. What special advantages does your firm bring to the market space? Achieve this competitive advantage, this achieved by a firm when it can produce a superior product and or bring the product to the market at a lower price the most or all of its competitors. The question would be what special advantages does your firm bring to the market space or Is your product superior to a cheaper or produced than your competitors? The sixth will be the market strategy. How do you plan to promote your product or services to attract your target audience? The market strategy, the plan you put together that details exactly how you intended to enter a new market and attract new customers. Details how a company intends to enter a market and attracts customers. Best business concept will fail not properly marketed to a potential customers. For example, YouTube having a special network marketing strategy with which let users to post content on the site for free. For the seventh, it's the organizational development. What types of the organizational structure within the firm are necessary to carry out the business plan? For the organizational development plans describes how the company will organize the work that needs to be accomplished. Usually, work typically divided into functional departments. For example of this are the productions, the shipping, marketing, customer support, and the finance. As for the company's growth, hiring moves from generalist to specialist. Example of this, eBay starting out from the person firm into multi-departmental large enterprise. For the eighth will be management team. What kinds of experiences and backgrounds are important for the company's leader to have? For the management team, this usually the employees of the companies responsible for making the business model work. Ano ba yung nagko-compose ng strong management team? Yung strong management team composes ng mga can make a business model work, can give credibility to outside investors, has a market specific knowledge, and has experience in implementing a business plan. For the next one is the e-commerce business model. There are many e-commerce business models and are being invented every day. In this course, we will categorize the business models according to e-commerce sectors and technology. For the e-commerce sectors, example of this is the B2B, the B2C, and the C2C. And for the other one, for the e-commerce technology, it's the P2P and m-commerce. Similar business model appear in more than one sector. Example, e-tailer, e-distributor. Some companies use multiple business models. Example is the eBay being to B2C maker, C2C business model, and B2C m-commerce. What is the B2C business model? B2C is the business to customer. We do have three for the business model. It's the portal, the e-tailer model, and the transaction broker. For the portal model offers users powerful web search tool as well as integrated package of content and service in all one place. The revenue model for this one will be the advertising, subscription fees, and transaction fees. While for the e-tailer model, online version in traditional retailer. Electronic retailing, this typically refers to the activities related to selling retail products and services via internet. This also includes distributing your products via network of online retailers. The e-tailers, the revenue model for this one is the sales of goods. For the next one will be the transaction broker, site that processes transactions for customers that are normally handled in one person by phone or email. Primary value proposition para rin mag-save time and money. For this one, the revenue model for this is the transaction fees. Next slide is the B2B business model. We do have two. It's the net marketplaces and the private industrial network. For the net marketplaces, it includes e-distributor, e-procurement, exchange, and industry consortium. For the e-distributor, usually the supplier supplies products and services directly to individual businesses. It is owned by one company seeking to service many customers. For the e-procurement, creates and sells access in digital e-marketers. B2B service providers sells business services to other firm. For example of this one, medyo familiar lang ako ng ano since we are in a travel agency and meron kasi kaming B2B rin. So, it is the business to business. For example, kami, nagki-cater kami ng mga visa processing. Kami yung nagdadala sa embassy or accredited by the embassy. So, meron ibang other travel agency kasi they are not accredited. So, kinukuha nila yung ano namin, tawag dito, kinukuha nila yung service namin para kami yung magfa-file, for example, ng mga visas nila. So, we will just, sinisingal lang namin sila ng medyo mas mababang rate compared to the other clients, which is yung normal rate lang. So, for the exchanges, electronic digital market space where hundreds of suppliers meet a smaller number of a very, very large commercial buyers. And the fourth one will be the industry consortium or the industrial networks. Digital networks used to coordinate communication among firms engaged in business together. For the private industrial network, it includes the single firm networks and in the industry-wide networks. For the single firm networks, company-owned networks to coordinate supply chains with limited set of partners. While for the industry-wide networks, industry-owned networks to set a standard, coordinate supply and logistic for the industry. Ito yung kanina discuss ko for the e-distributor, e-procurement, exchange industry, single firm networks, and industry-wide networks. For the e-distributor, the revenue model for this is the sales of goods. For the e-procurements, fees from the market-making services, supply chain, management, and fulfill services. And for the exchange, fees and commission on transaction. And for the industry, fees and commission on transaction as well. For the single firm networks, costs absorbed by the network owner and covered through production and distribution efficiencies, while for the industry-wide networks, contributions from industry member firm and recovered through the production and distribution efficiencies, fees for transactions and services. For the next slide, the other e-commerce business model, the consumer to consumer or the C2C, for example of this is the eBay. For the peer-to-peer, this is the P2P, the private bay, the CloudMark, and the P2P anti-spam solution to protect yung mga email boxes natin. For the e-commerce, extends existing e-commerce business models to service mobile workforce consumers. Unique features include mobility cameras to scan the product codes and the GPS. For the next topic, I will be discussing e-environment. This is the macro and the micro environment. Difference between the micro and macro environment. Organizations operates a business environment that consists of different factors. The business environment is categorized as the microenvironment and the macro environment. For the microenvironment, business activities are directly affected, while for the macro environment, leaves an indirect impact on all business on a large scale. Bali dito, I will be discussing na medyo palalawakin natin siya. For the microenvironment, this includes the suppliers, the customers, the competitors, the employees, the shareholders, and the media as well. Pag sinabi kasi sa supplier for the e-environment, supplier, syempre, they are the one that provides the sources to business like raw materials, machinery, or equipment. Their action can create an impact on the organization's strategy as they provide necessarily input for production. In the absence of timely and adequate services, yung production process may delay, that result in more production time and fewer sales, of course. Syempre, pag na-delay na yung production, yung sales natin is bababa rin. For example, the marketing strategy of a business gets affected in case of increased raw materials prices by the suppliers. It will further increase the final product prices as well, 'di ba? So it is a very much required to maintain a healthy liaison with supplier to gain a competitive advantage over competitors. Siyempre, ang marketing strategy for this one, dapat makisama ka naman talaga mabuti sa supplier mo so that you can ask minsan for a discount. So, syempre, pag nakakuha ka ng discount, mas bababa yung price na pwede mong gamitin. So, advantage yun for you para ano, baka kasi mas mataas 'di ba yung doon sa mga competitors mo. So okay siya. So you have to have a good ano healthy ano relationship with your supplier as well. For the customers, syempre, customers being the king of any business are the final receivers of the products or services. They are central to any organization as they contribute to generating revenue by attracting more customers. So the marketing strategy of an organization is required to be focused on existing customers' retention and attracting potential customers by satisfying their needs and preferences. After sales, service, and more value-added services also play a key role in increasing the customer base. For example of this, 'di ba, in today's digital era, most of the customers share their positive or negative reviews about the product or services of a brand on a different social media channels. 'Di ba? Alam niyo na minsan yung mga influencers, baka pag ano yun yung mga nagre-review ng mga product, kung okay ba sila or not. These influencers, this influences the buying decision of other customers as well because of a lot of people are using social media for different purposes. So satisfied and happy customer always increases the brand value of the business and contributes to increasing customer base and moral loyal customers of the organization. Next would be the competitors. Competitors or rival of a business can directly affect the business strategies. So it is very much required to conduct a competitive analysis of competitors to a competitive advantage as well. This includes the knowledge of their USP, the unique selling point of product and service offered, and also a business can remain in a competitive position by offering product or services better than the competitors. For example, nito is the Wow Momos brand. In USP lies in its diverse range of momos of different flavors that give it a competitive advantage over its competitors. For the next one will be the employees. Organization can be achieved objectives through skilled employees who are also expert in their areas by hiring right employees and providing adequate training and development opportunities to them. Organization can ensure access. Syempre, success, sorry. Syempre, for the employees, kailangan talaga natin ng yung mga skilled employees para makaangat-angat tayo sa iba. For example, different department of an organization like in finance, production, purchase, HR can be more productive if this have a competent staff having adequate skills and knowledge in their respective domains. In case incorporating new technology and organization to increase the efficiency of staff. Of course, training on how to use the technology is required to be given to employees so that they can use the new technology in better and productive way. The next will be the shareholder. The shareholders are those who invest their money in a company and also own share of it. By doing it so, they attend ownership in the company. Ultimately, they are eligible for return on investment on their share. This makes organization liable to forward benefits to them from profits. Organization also pay dividends to keep the interest of shareholders. So to make the right balance between the stakes of shareholders and the own interest is an essential aspect para sa organization. Example of this is sorry, shareholders may expect an increase in their share in the organizational profit that can affect an organization in the future, so better and strong relationship with shareholders are required for success for the long run. And the next one would be the media. Of course, as we all know, media channels also play an important role in the way organizations market themselves. Media has become the necessity of any business for promotional activities. Alam naman natin noon, ang laki ng impact ng media of its products and services. So, organizations are required to maintain a healthy relation and status with media people. Siyempre, pag okay ka, di mas maganda yung sasabihin ng media sa'yo or yung mga promotions nila. And the company's negative image in the media may result in heavy losses. That's why organizations now have a separate PR or the public relations department to handle media related activities smoothly and positively. Also, organizations need to find alternative ways to reach their audience or customers to create a positive image among them. For example, different media channels are being used for this. Newspaper, for example, advertisements, television mediums, social media platforms like YouTube, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and etc. While for the macro environment study is termed as Pestel's analysis that includes different external environment factors or forces like political, economic, social, cultural, and demographic forces, technology forces, legal forces, ecology, and physical forces. Kaya sinabi dito, yung macro environment is leaves an indirect impact on all business on a large scale kasi mas malaki yung sakop niya. Um, Pag differentiate mo siya, for example, the micro and the macro, for the definition, yung micro kasi, the micro environment is basically an internal or nearby environment of a company in which it operates. While the macro environment is considered as an external or general environment of the company that can create an impact on the working of whole business of the company. So, kanina discuss ko yung 6 elements of the microenvironment as well as the macro also. For the elements of nature naman nila, the nature of the elements for the micro, it is less complex and more specific, generally industry specific factors, while the macro environment elements are more complex and general, more of regional, national, or global. For the influence on the organization, the microenvironment, the nature of the elements of the microenvironment is less complex and more specific, while the elements for the macro is the complex and general, more regional and national or global. For the next slide, I will be discussing this one, microenvironment and its factor and the microenvironment and its factor. For the microenvironment has direct impact katulad ng sinabi ko kanina on routine business activities and associated with business at small scale. It consists of the different forces that are specific to a particular business and capable to influence the daily and performance of the business shorter than a period. Ito yung sinabi ko na kanina, yung six elements is the shareholders, customers, employees, competitors, media, and etc. For the microenvironment and its factor, a microenvironment of an organization is related to its general and external environment that impacts the working style, decision-making process, strategy, and performance of the business. The macro environment is dynamic environment that has a changing tendency, and it has an external factor that the organization can control. For the third one, I will be discussing, this is the third topic now, and it is e-business strategy. The outline for this will be the first is why the internet. The second would be e-business strategy. The third is determining competitive advantage. And the fourth one will be the implementing strategy. Why the internet? What do this technology have in common with the internet? First is the printing press. Second will be the telephone, the automobile, the airplane, the television, overnight delivery, facsimile or fax. Ito yung mga fax machine, cellular phones, and personal computers. Ano nga ba yung technologies na meron nito in common with the internet? For the first one, the printing press. Yung sa printing press kasi, this is the printed material. So, ang halos same nito with the internet, mass reproduction, unknown audience, wider geographical area, and one-way communication. For the telephone, immediate communication, interactive two-way communication, customer prospecting, actually wider geographical area as well. For the automotive, planes and trains, personal communication, wider geographical base, two-way communication, perception of above service. For the television, as we all know, syempre, mas wide yung sakop din niya ng mass audience, one-way communication as well, 60-second sound bite, first visual electronic medium. For the overnight delivery, of course, as we all know, medyo familiar naman tayo dito kasi lagi tayo nagpapadeliver. So, nagpo-provide siya ng immediate service, create perception of customer care. For the fax it, immediate transfer of written information, above average service, one-way promotion, closer to customers, cellular phones, and personal computer. For the cellular phone, mobility, instant access to customer, and above average service. And of course, alam niyo naman, pag cellular phone, it is a 24-hour contact. So, 24 hours ka, okay. So, for the PC or the personal computer, fast service, customer information, databases, databases, and instant communication. For the next, what do they have in common? Siyempre, lahat ng sinabi ko kanina, ayun, lahat sila merong wider distribution of information, uniform information, assist in marketing function of the company, many were interactive, allow the impression of above average service, they all have become standard of or in the industry. Next topic is the e-business strategy. E-business strategy pa rin tayo, pero ito yung pangalawa. This is the electronic commerce or the EC. That's where the business transactions takes place via telecommunication network, especially in the internet. Electronic commerce describes the buying and selling of products, services, and information via computer networks, including the internet. The infrastructure of EC is network computing environment in business, home, and government. For the e-commerce, for the e-business, it describes the baddest definition of EC. It includes a customer service and intra-business tasks. It's frequently used in interchangeably with the EC. Ang ano nito is the strategy. Strategy is the roadmap to success, answers the question that what business are you in it. Strategy also determines how you compute with the market you are in. It focuses on the company and unified direction. Ano ba yung tinatawag natin na ano na why an e-commerce pala, sorry, why an e-commerce strategy? The benefits of electronic commerce. Ano nga ba yung benefits na nakukuha natin sa kanila? First will be benefits to organization. Expands the marketplace to national and international market, of course. Decrease the cost of creating, processing, distributing, storing, and retrieving paper-based information. So, syempre, pag nasa e-commerce ka na, so matatanggal na yung paper-based. Ito yung, di ba, nalilesen yung mga papers natin. For example, di ba, sa mga ano na lang, sa mga SOAs na binibigay sa atin, minsan hindi na sila nagpiprint. So, ini-email na lang kasi ano na, so parang napaka-modern na. Allows reduce inventories and overhead by facilitating full type supply chain management. The full type of processing allows for customization of products and services, which provide competitive advantage to its implementers. Of course, nagre-reduce ng time between the outlay ng capital and the receipt of the products and services. Supports business processes, re-engineering efforts, tapos lowers telecommunication cost. As we all know, the internet is much cheaper than the value-added networks, diba? For the second one would be the benefits to customer. Ano nga ba yung nagiging benefits nila sa mga customers? First one is enables customers to shop or to do other transaction 24 hours a day, all year round from almost any location. So dahil dito, dahil nakakonect na tayo into the modern world, hindi na natin kailangan na pumunta sa mga stores just to buy. We can do it online 24 hours, so anytime pwede. So provides customer with more choices. So mas madali na, bukod sa mas madali na siya, ang dami pang choices na pwede mong pagpilian. Click-click ka lang, ganun. Provides customer with less expensive products and services by allowing them to shop in many places and conduct quick comparison. Dahil minsan, 'di ba, ang hirap kasi pumunta kunyari sa mga kunyari sa shops na lang, 'di ba, pupunta ka, tapos magko-compare ka, mapapagod ka, kunyari pupunta ka na lang sa mall, not unlike online. So punta ka dito sa shop na 'to, tapos scroll ka lang ulit dun sa kabilang shop. So mas madali mo na siya ma-compare. For example, for the prices, style, kung ano yung mas bet mo, yung ganun, kung ano yung mas gusto mo. Allows quick delivery of products and services in some cases, especially with digitized products. Siyempre, dahil doon, alam niyo na, deliver na lang ngayon, so mas madali para sa atin. Customers can receive relevant and detailed information in seconds rather than in days or weeks. Market makes it possible also to participate in virtual auctions. Mas madali yun. So, kunyari, pag may mga nag-auctions, mas madali na pag online lang. Allows customer to interact with other customer in electronic communities and exchange ideas as well as compare experiences. Electronic commerce facilitates competition with results in substantial discounts. The third one, ano nga ba yung benefits nila to society? Ano nga ba yung benefits ng e-commerce strategy para sa industry? First, it enables more individuals to work at home and do the less traveling for shopping, resulting in less traffic on the roads and lower air pollution. So, alam naman natin, katulad ngayon, nung nag-pandemic, mas madami sa atin ang work from home setup, which is more convenient to us. Of course, less traveling, walang traffic, di ba ganun? So, mas madali. Allows some merchandise to be sold at lower prices benefiting the poor ones. So, ayun, since nag-allow siya ng merchandise to sold na mas mababa yung price, na kayang-kayang bilhin ng ano, medyo yung sabihin natin bukod sa middle, yung medyo nasa lower ano rin. So, enable people in the third world countries and rural areas to enjoy products and services which otherwise are not available to them, and facilitates delivery of public services at a reduced cost, increased effectiveness, and improves quality. For the next one, bakit nga ba? Bakit yung electronic strategy? Why? It works 24 hours a day, offers a two-way communication, unlimited access, interactive advertising, and supports current business effort. For the third one will be the determining competitive advantage. Impacts on competition, lowers buyers search costs, speedy comparison, differentiation, lower price, customer service, digital product lack, normal wear and tear. The next one would be determining competitive advantage. In determining competitive advantage, competition and electronic commerce, perfect competition and observations regarding competitiveness. For the perfect competition, it enables many buyers and sellers to enter market at a little or no cost, no barriers to entry. Not allowing any buyers and sellers to individually influence the market since it is online. So, hindi nga naman nakakapag ano to sa mga buyers and seller, hindi nakaka-influence sa kanila. So suppliers and buyers and sellers with perfect information about the products and market participant and condition. For the observations regarding competitiveness, the bargaining power of buyers is likely to increase. There will be more substitute products or services. Of course, the bargaining power of suppliers may decrease. The number of industry competitors in one location will increase. Competitive advantage can be achieved by first concentrating on particular market segments, offering products which differ from the competition. Product This is the product differentiation. Using alternative distribution channels and manufacturing process, and employing selective pricing and fundamentally different cost structure. The next one would be implementing strategy. This is the fourth one. For the generic strategies, Porters give us a little more help in strategy formulation by providing three generic strategies which is successfully implemented and can allow a firm to stake out the defined position in the market space. These strategies are: first is the overall cost leadership, the differentiation, and the focus. For the overall cost leadership, this includes the efficient scale facilities, vigorous cost reduction. Kung ano yung ano na yan is the vigorous cost reduction. This includes the cost control, overhead control, avoid marginal accounts, minimize R&D, minimize service, and minimize the advertising. For the second one, the differentiation. For the differentiation, the key idea here is create something about your product that is perceived industry-wide as being unique. For example of this is the quality, the delivery, create credit and terms, service, training, reputation, or the brand image, tech information, the actual product, and the price. Differentiation can provide insulation against the competitors because of the brand loyalty by the customer and resulting to lower sensitivity to price. For the last one is the focus. The key idea here is the focus on a particular buyer group, segment of the product line, or geographic market. For the next one is the competitive strategy. In competitive strategies, offensive strategy usually takes place in established competitor market. The second one will be the defensive strategies that takes place in the firm-owned current market position as a defense against the possible attack by a rival. For the third one will be the cooperative strategies. This includes the collusion, strategic alliance, joint venture, value chain partnership. For the collusion, active cooperation of the firm within an industry to reduce output and increase prices in order to get around the normal economic law of supply and demand. For the strategic alliance, partnership of the two or more corporation or business units to achieve strategically significant objectives that are mutually beneficial. For the third one will be the joint venture, a way to temporarily combine the different strengths of partners to achieve an outcome or value to both. The value chain partnership, a strong and close alliance in which the companies or the units form a long-term arrangement with the key supplier of distributor for a mutual um, advantage. To summarize this all, dun sa apat na diniscuss ko kanina, syempre, focus your effort, define your competitive advantage, have a clear strategy, of course, then tsaka mo siya gawin. And the last topic will be the e-supply chain management. The agenda for this one is what is ESCM, why use of technology, issues in implementation, research methodology for evaluation, and then next one will be the various research on ESCM adopted to be different business sectors. First, what is the ESCM? The flow of material information, money, and services from raw material suppliers through factories and warehouse to end the customer. The collaborative use of technology to improve the operations of supply chain activities as well as the management of supply chain. For example, this one, sa makikita nyo, 'di ba? Mauuna dito is from the supplier. After the supplier, pag kumuha ka na sa kanila, di-deliver na nila into the factory, tapos papunta sa warehouse. Pagka dating sa warehouse, for example, syempre may mga customers ka na, so i-distribute na yan. Tapos end of customer. For example of this one, actually hindi naman talaga siya ano. Dati kasi kami, yung dating pinapasukan ko is distribution company ako. So from the supplier, kukuha kami, tapos i-deliver sa amin. So, ah, tama, i-deliver sa amin. So, after the warehouse namin, pag may kumuha na, for example, si SM, so sa amin siya kumukuha before, tapos i-distribute na namin sa kanila. And after nun, syempre, pagdating kay SM, doon nabibili yung mga customers. So, the next would be why use of technology. First, in inventory levels, firm keep track of their existing and needed inventory level as the system can provide early warning sign when the product is running low. For example, yung dati kong ang company is, 'di ba, meron kaming system so pag konti na lang yung inventory, so makikita namin kaagad kung kailangan na namin mag-restock or bumili na ulit. Minimizing bullwhip effect, the collaboration present with electronic supply chain management can go a long way in minimizing the bullwhip effect, the distortion of the demand forecast along the supply chain resulting from inaccurate or inadequate information. Long-term relationship as firms open themselves and their information up to each other, they are forced to align their own strategies and goals. Para syempre sa long-term relationship, yung mga firms themselves ina-align nila yung mga ano nila strategy nila para mag-come up sila sa ano strong goals. Speed and ability to communicate can be seen throughout the supply chain. The cost, sa cost naman, it decrease in cost communication, carrying inventory, and customer service. And the others are, it improves the customer relationship na nag-eliminates of stockouts, encourages customer driven demand and efficiency in taking or tracking the delivery. So, syempre, kunyari katulad natin sa ano 'di ba, sa mga Shopee, 'di ba nakikita natin kaagad or nata-track natin kaagad yung mga for deliveries natin kung nasaan na sila. So yun yung advantage kung bakit kailangan natin mag-use ng technology. Number three would be the issues. For the commitment, a firm must be committed to using the system. For going past method of conducting business such as phone, fax, and written record and um, insist insisted relying on the automated supply chain system. It involves all the parties. Benefits of technology must be conveyed to all parties involved. Also, sa data accuracy niya, the benefits can only be occurred through the accuracy of the data entered into and consist usage of the system. Sharing information, syempre, more information is shared among organization, the more it will become beneficial. Other reliance, many have found that their supply chain strategy do not work when forced to respond to unexpected events. As inventory levels are minimized, there is less safety stock to handle emergency. This emergency can come in many forms: a delayed shipment, syempre broken down the track, a jump in demand, a natural disaster, unable to adapt to change. The supply chain system are inaccurate and put their firm at disadvantage. The research assumption is it would be effective communication between the customers and the suppliers, of course, valid for companies under consideration, not a comprehensive guide, extent of public information, for example, the free and the premium. Summary, findings and research, a little correlation between the firm's revenues and expectations, size advantage, of course, and insights on how smaller firms could effectively. For example, ito, pinapakita dito, papakita ko lang yung, for example, yung tatlo for the supply chain, uh, chain management, for example, in Toyota. So, for the local ports, ito siya, so receiving dock, PC storage, production, of course, the dealer, tas after, yung katulad na diniscuss ko kanina, um, ang huling bagsak niya is the customer. For the imports parts also. And for the next one would be the topology of systematic SCM management. So, for the internet, ito makikita nyo lahat ng mga nagamit for the delivery, ordering process, kung paano ginagawa. Tapos for the delivery, ayun. So, dito siya makikita lahat. Pwedeng gamitan ng fax, email. So, mas mapapabilis talaga with the use of this one. And the next, for the Toyota Chusho, ito na yung parang sample niya kung paano lahat siya nako-conduct and nagagawa. And that would be all. Thank you po. For the next three topics, it will be discussed by Sir Jeffrey Ormo. Thank you.